All right, check this out. So while Trump hides away and tries to avoid any sort of responsibility for this massive national security breach, we're seeing a rare moment of bipartisan clarity emerge on Capitol Hill, meaning Democrats and even some Republicans are coming together to call for accountability and what's being called Signalgate, or some people are calling it Whiskey-gate because, Pete Hegseth. But they're treating it like the serious security breach that it is, and that makes me happy. I mean, take GOP Representative Don Bacon, for example, who went on CNN and voiced a lot of discontent with the Trump admin. And it's not only about Signalgate or Whiskey-gate, but he also started talking about tariffs. He called for accountability, and he seemed to be just overall unhappy. I mean, we're 2 months into the Trump admin. We have people directly criticizing Trump. Before I show you these clips, check this out. I came across this comment regarding the Department of Education being shuttered, and someone said, "I'm a Trump supporter and voted for him, but I believe education is the most important issue in our country. My daughter is graduating this year and has been accepted by several universities for her PhD program. However, they all emailed her to retract the acceptance. Now she's left uncertain about her future. She's in a very challenging major, and this whole situation has made it even more difficult for her. As a mom, I'm concerned about her future. Please do something for PhD students, please." It's the age-old story of conservatives not really giving a shit until it affects them and their families personally. We see this all of the time, but hey, at least this person now understands what they voted for. Now, the question that's been on everyone's mind is, will Pete Hegseth make it till the end of March, or will he be pushed out before the end of the month? Now, first of all, drop a like if you'd love to see Pete Hegseth just get booted out and never have to see his face again. But I don't think Trump will do it. He would think it looks weak, even though accountability equals strength in my book. But people are calling him out. Really quickly, this says, concerns about Hegseth's judgment come roaring back after group chat scandal. So ever since news broke Monday that top Trump officials were discussing sensitive material in a group chat, Pete Hegseth has projected a lot of confidence even when he shouldn't. Quote, "I know exactly what I'm doing," Hegseth told reporters Tuesday. By Wednesday, however, other defense officials were increasingly skeptical of that, especially after The Atlantic magazine revealed the details that Hegseth shared in the Signal chat. Quote, "It's safe to say that anybody in uniform would be court-martialed for this," a defense official told CNN. "My most junior analysts know not to do this." And there's an important distinction. I've heard military officials say, if you want to use Signal to coordinate a meeting, just like where you guys are going to meet and the overall topic, that's different. You can do that. But what they were doing was far, far worse. They were sending actual details, legitimate strike times and patterns in this group chat, which is wild. And check out Representative Don Bacon saying it's wild and unacceptable.
Trump is calling the entire situation a witch hunt. Do you have any confidence in the Trump administration to hold people accountable for this stunning intelligence breach?
This was a great mission, a great operation, and unfortunately, the way the White House has handled it has hurt. It's undermined what should be a successful bragging right here. It was a great operation against the Houthis. Everybody that reads the messages knows that it was inappropriate for the Secretary of Defense to put when we're going to bomb Yemen, when of the aircraft are taken off, one of the impacts are going to be. That stuff was put out 2 hours before the mission on an unclassified network. And I'm a signals intelligence officer. I know the Russians and Chinese have made their phones the #1 targets to monitor. I have no doubt that Russia and China were able to read those messages. I would be very surprised if they did not.
Did I just hear a Republican on the Armed Services Committee criticizing Donald Trump? Wow. And he even said at the end there, let me repeat this because I don't want this to go unheard.
Targets to monitor. I have no doubt that Russia and China were able to read those messages.
He had no doubt that Russia and China were able to read these messages. This security breach is absolutely wild, and it almost gets worse by the day. Check this clip out of Don Bacon continuing.
But when you deny that it's a problem, and then it undermines your credibility even more because people look at it, anybody with common sense will see what was set out over Signal, and they know what's wrong. And so when you try to deny that it's wrong, the credibility factor becomes even bigger. And so This could have been old business 3 days ago. By just saying it was wrong, I screwed up. And I think it's still the right thing to do. If I was the Secretary of Defense, I would do it. I would encourage him to reconsider the actions that were taken here.
Are you now ready to call for actual resignations?
I just think it's a bigger issue when you deny it's a problem. So I think the jury's still out of that, and I'm reluctant to tell, I'm reluctant to use the resignation word or the firing word, but the credibility is suspect when you cannot even admit that.
Okay, he's reluctant to say anything of actual substance. I will say this dude could probably take a much, much stronger stand and call for resignations, at least criticize a Trump admin. It sounds like he wanted to say, I don't want to tell Trump what to do. No, tell Trump what to do. You're on the Armed Services Committee. His ass is not. Trump has no clue what the hell he's doing right now. So yeah, criticize him. But if I'm going to give any sort of little shred of credit, it's nice to see this dude at least acknowledging the gravity of the situation. Then he began criticizing Trump on tariffs. This guy just seems pretty disillusioned. Seems like a standard Mike Pence type conservative maybe, which we disagree with, but at least we can say the Mike Pence type conservatives don't love Russia.
To the United States, but Fords and Chevys made in the United States, all those prices are going to skyrocket. Now, could Republicans in Congress specifically be doing more to push the president to try to de-escalate his trade war? What leverage do you have?
Well, in Article 1 in the Constitution, really tariffs should be a congressional initiated action. So this should come from Congress. However, I think we made a mistake. In the past, we passed legislation that gave the president some temporary tariff authorities. And I think we should look back and maybe restore the power back to Congress and take away the authorizations that we've allowed the presidents, not just President Trump, but President Biden and President Obama before him. This power should reside in the House and the Senate. And we have the power of the purse. And so I think we should restore these authorities back to the House.
Oh, that's an interesting
Lord have mercy, how naive. Oh yeah, I'm sure if you restore the authority back to the House and the Senate and Congress, then that'll stop Trump. When has Trump ever tried to use the executive branch to subvert the power of the purse? Oh wait, that's been the main primary argument happening over the past few months with Doge. Who has the power of the purse? Who has the ability to appropriate funds in Congress? Now, check this post out. It may be hard for you to read, so let me read it for you. Matthew McIntosh posted, thousands of legal Cuban immigrants are having their legal status revoked so they can be sent back to Cuba, where they will almost instantly be sent directly to prison for leaving and politically disagreeing with the Cuban regime. The quote, Cubans for Trump organization is even starting to speak out and retaliate. They just don't understand why he has, in their words, quote, turned on us. One said, quote, we pay taxes, we follow the law, we do it right, we supported him. He was only supposed to go after criminals, and we are not criminals. Again, he's massively overstepping, and he's using the executive branch to do so. Another said, quote, people will be in prison for life, and people will die. The United States offered protection, and now he's going to kill us. He lied to us and used us. A lot of them have been here for many years, following the process legally and doing everything right. They have had children, and those children are U.S. citizens. But unless they have somewhere to send them, the kids will go with them. Want to know what happens even if the children are political prisoners in Cuba? No, you don't want to know, says the person writing this post. The Cubans for Trump group is regretting their decision. And then I also came across this while doing more research. Benny Johnson, who is a Republican, a hardcore Republican, he was paid by Russia. He said, President Trump strips the legal status of 530,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. Why? Why? They genuinely don't want brown people in the country. It really is that simple. And someone said, I am an American citizen. I voted for Trump. I was born in Cuba, and I think this is unfair and does nothing to help America. Cubans mostly vote Republican. Doing this puts Miami congressmen at risk of losing future elections, and the Congress would lose its majority. Moreover, they are not even illegal immigrants. That's the big headline. Republicans say, come here legally, come through the proper channels, and when you finally get legal status, they fucking revoke it. It's absolutely wicked, and it's terrible. I'm going to leave it at that. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe. I love each and every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.